Hey y'all. So, as a relatively frequent traveler and especially solo female traveler, there are just a few questions that I get that drive me up the wall. Okay? Now, mind you, I think there are kind of two camps of people that ask these questions. On one end, it is other women, other travelers, other people who are interested in travel and they really just want to know how I'm doing certain things because they're trying to figure out how to like make the formula work for themselves. And then there's the other camp of people who ask out of, I don't think skepticism is the right word. Uh, but it's not curiosity. It's not like with an open mind. It's like, kind of a side eye, kind of why would you be doing that sort of thing. So there are just a few questions that I want to go over. I thought this would be interesting. So yeah, let's dive right into this thing, okay? So first and foremost, and this happens here, but it also happens abroad like surprisingly a lot. And it's, what does your boyfriend or husband think about you traveling alone? Bold of you to assume that this man exists. And also, like, I get, especially in relationships, there are certain things that a lot of people stop doing alone, but if I'm married to somebody and I'm doing this thing, I feel like my first assumption would be, okay, this person has already talked to their partner about it, rather than assuming that their partner has like negative feelings about it. Because that's how it reads, right? It reads like they let you do that, which is like, hypothetically, if this man existed, we would already have this conversation and it wouldn't be an issue. So I'm really not understanding why you want to know the conversation that we had. Does that make sense? I hate it. Okay, next one. How do you afford it? Which I feel like it always goes right after the first one about your husband or your boyfriend, because there are still a lot of people that will assume that, oh, she can't afford to be doing this on her own. Look, I know the gender pay gap still exists, but it, and I guess maybe in certain cultures it's also different, right? In some countries, in some cultures, it makes more sense for you to assume that either a woman is not working at all or she's making significantly less than what a man would be making. And even in this country, it's still definitely a thing. But I still go to my 9 to 5. I still work a day job. I still, you know, and I also feel like as a stranger, why are you asking me how I afford this? I don't know. I feel like people get too comfortable too quick. And once again, there's a certain camp of people who it's like it's other people trying to figure out how they can work it for themselves. So they want to know like, oh, is there a side business you're working on? What do you do for work that's like allowing you the ability to do this? And then there's the other people that's like, you can afford to do it. And I think especially the people who might want to, this one lock is doing its own thing, especially the camp of people who might want to do it themselves and they're upset that you can do it and they can't. So it's like, well, what are you doing to afford this? As if I've got to be like putting my toes on Twitter to be able to be in whatever country I happen to be in. Insane. Insane behavior. All right. The next one is like, you're here by yourself? Like, or you go by yourself? Like, actually by yourself? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how else to respond to that, because it's like, I know there are a lot of people that don't even like going to dinner by themselves, but especially in other parts of the world, like it is not unusual for women to For instance, like take a year after high school, like between college, take a gap year, and European women traveling to different parts of Europe, or Asian women going to the next country over, and I don't know, it's I think there are people that assume that if I'm doing this I must be lonely, which I think kind of goes into the next question. But there are a lot of people who they themselves can't sit for like 10 minutes in their own thoughts without like grabbing their phone or turning on some noise or something, or don't like being out by themselves. So it's like unbelievable. It is unfathomable that there are people that go to other countries, other continents, other cities, and will do it by themselves. But it's still a weird question to me. Like, you're like really alone. Yeah. And then also there's the small portion of people that are like being creepy about it. There's always going to be some man at like a restaurant or a bar or something that's like, oh, so you're here alone. Which I think I touched on in the reason solo traveling sucks videos, because there's always going to be somebody that assumes you're there for like weird reasons other than just wanting to see a new place. But I guess that's a whole different topic. I go a little bit deeper into in the other video. So leads us right into the next one, which is, why don't you just wait until you have someone to go with? Y'all, when this question, because it's a two-parter to me, right? Or there's a two-part answer. For some people, it's because we just like being alone. I like myself. I like spending time with myself. I'm hilarious. I crack myself up when I am by myself, my own thoughts. So it's like, it doesn't bother me to be alone for a couple of days. But on the other end of that, it's like, okay, even if you are someone who really, really loves being around people and around friends and doing all this stuff, like, okay, personal story. I started solo traveling largely because at the time, which I was early 20s, at the time, I got tired of trying to plan trips, and either my friends didn't have the time or the resources to do it, or we wanted to go different places. Or I would go on trips with people and not enjoy myself as much because of either how the trip had to be planned around another person, or side tangent. There was one trip I went on where we were supposed to go to 3 countries and spend a couple days in each country, and we all chose a country in Europe that we wanted to go to. And at the end of the day, because of people's timelines and people's budgets and PTO and everything, we had to cut one of the countries, and of course my country got cut. So it's stuff like that after a while, after feeling like not even having to compromise, because I feel like even when you're alone, there are things you have to compromise on, but when you do travel with people and you maybe don't have the best experience for one reason or another, there have been times when I've been put in danger by the people that I'm traveling with, even though like they're friends or I've known them or whatever. So it's kind of two-part. It's like, okay, do I want to wait to go with another person and maybe never have the opportunity to do what I want and to go where I want and to spend the amount of time in a certain place that I want? And maybe not even like enjoy myself? Or do I want to just bite the bullet and go and still have a great time? Like, again, I enjoy my own company. So it's like, why would I put off doing certain things, especially as it pertains to travel, just because I don't have somebody to go with? Like, I'll be waiting my entire life to reach these goals and to go these places and have these experiences. Yeah, and then the other part of it is I really just like being by myself sometimes. Like, it's nice exploring a place on your own. And I'll probably put it at the end of this video, but there's another video where I talk about like how freeing it is traveling alone and how much you get to know yourself. It's, I, I guess based on like not popular, but like common wisdom, common understanding, common logic, it's weird that a woman specifically would want to do this by herself. But like in 2026, we're still asking women why they want to do things alone. I don't, or like waiting to do stuff. I don't know. Yeah, because I feel like if you applied that to anything else, it'd be like crazy. Like, what, you're gonna wait to buy a house until you're married? Like, you have the opportunity to buy a house. You have the means to buy a house now, and you're not going to until you're married. What if you never find your person? What if it takes 20 years to find that person? What if you and your partner, your husband, whoever, want to have kids, but it's not happening for you, and you're like, well, we've always had this dream of moving to another state, or going to New York or whatever, but we're not going to do that until we have kids. Some people never have kids in their whole life. I'm going off on a tangent here, but you get my point. Like, why would I put my entire life on pause waiting for something that honestly might not happen, and if it does happen, might not be the most like optimal situation to do it in. And then lastly, aren't you worried about insert bad thing happening? It could be getting robbed, getting pickpocketed, getting lost. I've had people send me articles on people's lives being ended while they were on trips, specifically solo women, or assaulted or whatever. First of all, I think it's kind of insulting that you don't think I care about my own safety. Like, yes, I'm very well aware of the risk, and especially people that know me personally, I'm a responsible person. But just, I don't know why, again, if it's any other thing, I can understand if it's like an inherently dangerous thing, right? But for most regular life situations, if someone were to bring up the worst possible scenario, it would be weird, right? Like if someone tells you, hey, yeah, I would love to get married. What if you marry a serial killer? Whoa, hold on. How did we get here? Or like, oh, I'm thinking about buying a car. What if you get scammed and there's a body in the trunk? Like, oh man, it would be so weird if we applied this same logic to any other risk we had in life. Again, unless it's like an inherently dangerous thing. But generally speaking, travel is not dangerous. Like, what, y'all trying to go to Yemen? Y'all trying to go to like Iran right now? What? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But anywho, that's just a few of the things that I feel like I get asked relatively often. Even some of my friends who are solo travelers and female travelers, it's just a lot. Anywho, thank you guys so much for joining me here on my cozy little corner of the internet. If you don't know, my name is Alexis, and I post every single day here on YouTube about all things travel and navigating big life decisions, and all around just trying to become a better person while keeping other people in mind. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see y'all later. Bye.